Hi everyone, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk to you about something called second victim syndrome. So, what exactly is second victim syndrome? Let's start with a story. This is a true story about a nurse named Kim. Kim was a very experienced nurse working in a children's hospital. One day, she made a medication error with an infant patient. She immediately reported her mistake into the hospital system, but the infant died 5 days later. Kim was absolutely devastated. The hospital did an investigation, suspended Kim for several weeks, and then fired her. This was her first medication error, according to the investigation reports. She was further mandated to a 4-year probationary period by the State Nursing Commission, during which she had to be supervised whenever she would give medications to patients. This led to her being unable to find employment. 7 months later, Kim took her own life. Second victim syndrome is when someone makes a mistake that unintentionally harms another, and then that person is ostracized and shamed to the point where they also become a victim. So in this example, the infant, of course, was the first victim, but the nurse, Kim, was the second victim. The world lost an experienced, talented nurse. Unity Point Health and Methodist College have programs in place so this doesn't happen to our students and employees. First, let's look at the stages that a person might go through when they are experiencing second victim syndrome. First is impact realization. During this stage, a person realizes they've made the mistake and is responding to the event. They may experience intrusive thoughts and/or feelings of self-doubt, shock, and denial. They might fear rejection by others and struggle to get back to the baseline of professional skills. They may or may not be able to continue caring for the patient. The next stage is enduring the inquisition. During this stage, the person starts to realize the severity of the event and has to respond to numerous clinical questions about the event. What happened? Where were you? What were you thinking about? Who was there? Etc., etc. They also will typically interact with the event responders. The next stage is obtaining emotional first aid. During this stage, the person tries to identify who is safe to confide in and attempts to find personal and/or professional support. They might be hinting or hoping for support from various sources. The final stage is moving on, which can take 3 different forms: dropping out, surviving, or thriving. Here's a closer look at the 3 paths people might take to move on from second victim syndrome. The person may choose to drop out. This might take the form of finding a new position or leaving the profession entirely. Those on this path likely have feelings of inadequacy and failure. Another path is surviving. Those who survive attempt to cope with what has transpired and learn from the event. However, persistent sadness tends to prevail. The third possible path is thriving. This occurs when a person does not base their practice or work on this one event. There are minimal adverse effects from the event, and the person may go on to try and make a difference for the next patient or clinician. Our goal is for students and employees to thrive after traumatic events. But what is a traumatic event? A patient death could be traumatic to one person and not to another. A patient death could be traumatic to you today, but not yesterday. Perhaps today too many other things occurred, or last night you didn't get enough sleep, or this morning you found out a loved one died, and this just hits too close to home. Nobody should define what is traumatic to anyone else. A traumatic event is any event that an individual perceives to be beyond their ability to cope with at this time. A person is more likely to thrive after a traumatic event when they are surrounded by support during the difficult times. Other clinicians are also more likely to report mistakes and errors when they know they won't be ostracized, but rather supported through the process. Unity Point Health and Methodist College are committed to fostering a culture of support to help students and employees thrive after traumatic events. Unity Point Health has a staff support program called Care and Share, No Burden Carried Alone. The program provides support to staff members who are experiencing traumatic events. We also have supports in place for you here at Methodist College so that when you reach clinical courses, no student will feel isolated or alone if a traumatic event occurs. You'll learn more about what those specific supports are when you reach your first clinical course, but they include things like debriefing after the event, group or individual counseling, and regular check-ins. You also play a key role in this support. Look around at your fellow students. You all are sharing a common experience. Support each other. Lean on each other in times of need. No one understands what you're going through better than your fellow students. Think of the bond of a police force or a fire department. They too make mistakes in their professions that sometimes have dire consequences, but they support each other and help one another to overcome their mistakes and become better service professionals. Healthcare professionals also have stressful jobs where mistakes can have dire consequences. You are encouraged today to form that same type of bond with your peers throughout nursing school and beyond. If you become aware of a mistake by a fellow student, don't shun or shame them. Offer your help and encouragement. If you experience a traumatic event, reach out, seek support, because it will be there for you.